this is Jay Hen with Jay Hen Travel and Services, and this is my second video in my series of planning a family reunion. So if you haven't watched my first video, please go up here and hit the notification bar up top there. There's one going past, and you can go back and check out that video maybe before you watch this one or after you watch this video. It's up to you. And again, while you're here, if it's your first time checking out my channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. That way you'll be able to stay updated with each video I share on this series, as well as I share other videos that have to do with travel at least 3 to 4 times a week. So hit the subscribe button down below and hit the bell, especially if you're looking to get insight in how to plan a family reunion, or how I'm planning my family reunion, or how my family does our annual family reunion. So again, I covered just a few things in that video about my family reunion, maybe some of the first things that you need to consider if you're new to planning a family reunion, or if you've been doing it a few years and you want to try to be able to get a little more structure and for it to be a little more concrete and set in stone. Check that video out, as well as I'll be uploading more videos in this series that will highlight some of the things in that last video. But let's just get right to it. So once you got your dates set in stone, once you know who your family host is, once you know maybe how often you're going to have the family reunion, what city or town it's going to be in, then that's when the host or the committee needs to start, get their feet to hitting the pavement and get to running with trying to get that family reunion and that skeleton to come together and get it mapped out. So again, my family reunion for this year, we're coming up on our 45th family reunion, and I'm hosting the family reunion as well as my family here in Milwaukee. So we're actually having a 3-day event. So we are having, on our first night, we're doing bowling, as well as we have a banquet hall that is attached right to the bowling alley. So we're going to do bowling first, and then after bowling, we're going to kind of do a dance. And then in our actually bowling event and dance social event on Friday night, we're having an 80s versus 90s theme. So that way, it can kind of get everybody involved. People can pick which decade they want to dress like. They can either come dressed in their 80s gear, 90s gear, or they can just come dressed as themselves. But we're just going to have a good time. Also, on Saturday, we're going to celebrate our Jamaican roots, because we have found out over time that we do have a genealogy that comes from Jamaica before the slave trade and things like that. So we will be celebrating our Jamaican roots on Saturday with a banquet, a dance, some Jamaican entertainment, music, some adult and kids activities throughout the day, as well as we're going to have Jamaican cuisine, which if you guys keep checking out the channel and the series, you'll get to see some of that stuff unfold. And then on Sunday, we will have possibly, a church service for the family to go to, as well as we're going to do like a farewell barbecue on that day for people that do plan on staying until Monday, or sometimes people, when they check out their hotel, we always have like an event or go to someone's house. But we're going to do something in the park, because we know some people do plan to stay over for a 3-day weekend. So we'll just continue to party and continue to hang out and just hope and pray for sunshine. So with the planning committee, it's very important to think about some very important things, especially most of the time we know a year in advance who's going to host the family reunion. So as soon as we have our family reunion every 3rd weekend in July, we have the votes, and the person maybe nominates themselves who wants to host the family reunion. So by the time they leave that family reunion, they said they wanted to host it, and the family agrees, and that person knows they have a timeline, of like 11 months to get that family reunion planned out. And because our family we're spread out all over the country, that person does have to find a hotel for the family to stay at. And a lot of times, I think that's the first thing that a person that's hosting the family reunion does, is try to find a hotel, especially like in some of the cities that our family lives in, because we all live in maybe mid-sized cities or large cities where there's always something going on. So for instance, I currently live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and in Milwaukee, the summertime, we have a ton of festivals, ton of events that are going on, state fairs. Every weekend there's a festival in Milwaukee, and every week there's something going on. So a lot of times the hotels fill up fast. Or even in other cities, or even here, we oftentimes have lots of conventions all year long, so it can be very hard to get actual blocks of rooms if you wait to the last minute. And just last year in 2018, as I was trying to go and find hotels, I found out that there's a huge convention coming to Milwaukee, so it was very hard trying to find a hotel that was going to actually give me enough rooms that I would need for my family, because I was looking for a hotel that would at least give me 40 rooms, or at least give me 30 rooms. But a lot of the hotels, due to this conference that was coming up, they would only give me 10 rooms or 15 rooms. So I had to go to the next county back to find a hotel that was actually willing to let me block off 30 rooms, and then once we hit 30, they'll release more rooms. So that was a big thing, and it was very good that we did start looking for a hotel right away in August. And then with finding a hotel too, if you have family that's coming from out of town, you do want to think about the amenities, and you want to think about, just maybe the sleeping arrangements, or you want to think about what type of rooms they have at the hotel. Do they have rooms that would be accommodating for, families, or the type of people that you have coming for your family reunion? And then too, you want to think about maybe too, how's your family traveling into town? Would they want to be close to restaurants or stores and shops? So this is our second time again having it in Milwaukee. So each time what we tried to do is we've tried to get the hotel to be close to stores and shopping, so that way too people can kind of have something to do in the daytime, or during the times where we're not maybe offering them food or entertainment. So this time I do have the family reunion. Our hotel is selected right next to a mall. So there's a mall right there. There's lots of restaurants, shops, activities that people can do in their free time without having to get in a car and drive very far. So that's just very important to think about. And then too, one thing that you always want to do is make sure you get everything in writing. If you're dealing with the hotels and you're getting those rooms blocked off, make sure that you get everything in writing: the number of rooms, the type of rooms, the rate. Make sure you read the fine print, because sometimes there will be a cutoff date. Make sure that you know that cutoff date for your family to be able to book hotels. Just recently I was given a link. Our family was able to be given a link by our hotel this year, so I could just put the link on social media, email it, text it to people, and people could just book their hotels through the link. But one of the things we found out is that it would only work for 2 nights, and people that wanted to come in on Thursday night or stay over Sunday night, it wouldn't work on the link, so they still had to call the hotel. So you just want to make sure that you think of any glitches that can happen. And when we did host a family reunion back in 2011, we actually picked a hotel. It was in a very good spot, but the hotel was undergoing renovations, and so they were actually redoing the restaurant. And I mean, we would go every few months just to check on the hotel, and they kept making promises that that restaurant and that bar would be fixed and ready by the time our family reunion came. I mean, we went in May and they said, oh, it's going to be ready. It's going to be ready by June. I mean, and they were telling us each time we would go, they would give us the next month. When it got to the time of our family reunion, guess what? It wasn't done. So because we had some things in writing, we were able to get some deals. They actually ended up letting us bring in our own food and snacks, just because we were just so upset that restaurant wasn't up and ready, and our family still had to come into the lobby, and it was just kind of a mess and curtains hanging. So we were really upset and perturbed. But it was a nice hotel, but it's just the fact that if people couldn't eat right there, we couldn't hang out right there, it caused a little bit of what's the word, like kind of disruption, or didn't make it the most convenient place for everyone during that time. So make sure that you do keep everything in writing, communicate through email, keep notes to make sure that you don't get played in the end, especially with the hotels, because sometimes they will try to play you. Sometimes too, depending on how many people that you actually or how many rooms you book, the hotel may offer you like a free complimentary banquet hall or banquet room. So that's something important to think about as you're negotiating things. Sometimes you want to think about what other amenities are included too, like is there free breakfast, is there free Wi-Fi, are there refrigerators, does the hotel have rollaways, does it have microwaves? there? Is there, a restaurant on site? Are there swimming pools, activities, workout room, free parking? What I've noticed is a lot of hotels downtown, especially here in the city of Milwaukee, they don't have their own parking garages. So if we were to host downtown, family would have to pay extra money for parking in a private garage. And then we do have family that comes in on a coach bus, so that's something that we do have to consider as well. Like, is there a place where they can park their coach bus? So staying away from downtown from us has helped out with reducing the cost of parking, as well as making sure that our family that travel in on that coach bus will have a place to park their bus. So that's some very important things. And then you have to think about too, the cost that you have, and just that if you do have a higher budget, then you might be able to host things at the hotel, which if you do host it at the hotel, you do know that you can't bring in any outside food. And then also you will be paying per person for each plate. So that's something that you really have to think in mind and plan for and think about. Are you paying for all of this out of your pocket, or is family sending in money? And then how likely is everyone to send their money in by a certain time? So that's something important to think about. And then also, I think once you get the hotel, I think the next thing to move on to is to find the event space, or even if you have more than one person, right away at that 1 year mark, you can start splitting up the duties where one person can focus on the hotel, and then once the hotel is found, everyone or the committee can go and view the hotel, view the rooms, view the swimming pool areas, look at some of the hotel staff, see the area, just so you can kind of make sure your family's going into a nice, clean place that has respectable staff. Then the event space is going to play a big part. You're going to want to think about, again, how many people you have coming to your reunion. Do your family mind being outdoors, or do your family want to be inside? Or just what type of activities do you plan on having? It's very important to think about when you're planning out your event space, as well as your food. You have to make sure too, as you're trying to find a place, is food a big factor for you? Do you want to prepare your own food, or do you want to be stuck with having a caterer to do all of your food for you? So as you're looking for event space, you want to make sure that you are mindful of that with the halls, because some halls do allow you to bring in your own food, and then some halls you have to use their in-house caterer. And then some halls may allow you to bring your own food in, but they might not allow you to prepare your food on site. So that's something very important to think about. And then just thinking about event space. One of the things that's very convenient about Milwaukee is we do have a very good park system, as well as we do have a very good website for our county parks, where you can actually go online, you can look at the parks, you can look at to see all the different areas. They tell you the maximum capacity. They let you know if there's a playground nearby, if there's water nearby. Then it also lets you know if there's tents, pavilions, if there's electric outlet sockets there. It lets you know all those things, or if there's a shelter, and it lets you know all those things that are very important. Or it lets you know too if there's an actual hall there on site, and then it just gives you the address as well as the times and who to contact to actually book the park, or to see if that park area is available. And again, even when you're dealing with the parks and recreation and the different halls, again, make sure you get everything in writing. Make sure you check the fine print before you sign your name, or even once you signed it in a day or two. If you notice something is not right, you're going to want to try to get that rectified right away. And then keep all your documentation in a nice, safe place. But as you're picking out your event space, just make sure you have in mind the type of activities you plan to have, the music, the food, and things like that. And then next, you want to think about contacting the family. Once you know the hotel, once you know the event space, your skeleton starts to come together. You kind of have an idea of what you're going to do for the weekend, where your family's going to stay. Then you can actually start to send out your letter or your information to let people know what's going to be going on during that family reunion. We typically send out our letters by December and January. Don't tell nobody, but this year, Milwaukee, we are very, very late. I actually just sent them out. It's the third weekend in February, and we actually just sent out our letters. I think it's the third or fourth weekend in February, but we just sent our letters out. So that's very bad. Normally our letters are already out by December, January. That's what we did in 2011. That's what our family and other cities have done. So we kind of on the bad list as far as sending out letters, but we're planning a pretty good event. So even though we're a little late notifying people, they're going to be happy when they come to our actual event. But I have put stuff on Facebook since we've had our hotel since last August. I did share that stuff on social media, sent out a text message to some people, but you know, it's not fair. We still have to keep in mind that some people are still old school and they still like paper, they still like letters, and they're not all into the social media and technology. So that's something important to think about, you know, getting an updated family reunion list. I think I probably have over 100 letters to mail out just with all the different families and households. So it's just important that you do have a running list of everyone's address or phone number or email address to figure out how will we contact family, and then what will we put inside the letter. So typically what we put in the letter, we just put, you know, the city the hotel is going to be hosted at. We put the location of where things will occur. We put down list any things. We list the price, as well as we list the family contribution fee, and then we have a registration page that we put inside there as well. And it just is something that the family members can send back to us with their money, just to let us know how many adults, how many kids will be attending. And then we actually put on there too, does anyone have any allergies, or does anyone have any special announcements or talents that they would like to share with the family during the weekend, just to kind of help everyone to get involved, as well as to inform the hosting family of how many people are actually coming to the event, as well as are there any special dietary needs or restrictions or any great celebrations that we want to highlight during the family reunion. So that's just very important. And then one thing that my grandmother always said, that the food is the most expensive thing when you're hosting a family reunion, or it can be the hardest thing. Now I know some families, you know, they got people that'll get down in the kitchen, that'll get out there on that grill and barbecue. And then some families, you got some people that say they're gonna do something, and then it comes down to it and it's like one person working by themselves. So for me this year, I'm like, the easiest thing to do to make it easy for everybody, we're just gonna cater food each day. So we have the bowling alley is going to cater the food on Friday, as well as in their banquet hall. And then on Saturday, we're going to have a catered event at a hall. And then on Sunday, we're having a catered event. We're having someone actually come to the park and barbecue for us. Yes, we ain't got to do no work. I think probably the most thing we'll have to do is bring sodas there to the park and to our event on Saturday, but otherwise not trying to do no extra work. I want to be able to mingle and hang out and enjoy my family and socialize, and you know, do a little bit of running around, but not, you know, not nobody slaving in the kitchen and all that. We will have to clean up and stuff like that, but still we'll be a little bit more freer by having the food catered. But again, you want to plan that out and think about, you know, food storage, what's going to be on the menu, how will you gather all the food together? Who's going to be cooking? And again, thinking about the event spaces that you'll be in and what type of food is actually allowed. So we've covered a lot in this video. Be on the lookout for my next video about planning a family reunion. I'll also show you during my next video some of my food tasting that we've done, some of the looking at sites, some of the preparing of letters and mailings and things like that. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave a question down below. If it's a question about planning a family reunion, if you have any ideas for themes for a family reunion, leave that down below as well. And then we can also maybe start a conversation and share information about themes or ideas that can be done for a family reunion. Again, this is Jay Hen with Jay Hen Travel and Services. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the share button, and leave a comment. Let me know, how often does your family reunion meet? How many years has your family reunion been going on? What city is your family reunion in, you know? Or do you even have a family reunion? Would you like to start one? Let me know down in the comments.